Raider Nation, big news is coming your way. There's a lot of talk about what the Raiders might do during the 2025 NFL Draft, and yes, that includes quarterback Aidan O'Connell. According to reports, the team is thinking about trading him. That's right, a possible draft day move involving O'Connell is on the table. Why? Well, the Raiders are considering taking a young quarterback who could sit and learn behind Geno Smith. Even Tom Brady, now a part owner of the team, supports that idea. He believes rookie quarterbacks should take time to learn instead of being rushed into action. And even though this draft isn't packed with top quarterbacks, there are still some solid choices out there. But back to Aidan. Fans have been asking one big question. What could a trade for him actually look like? Could it happen in round 1? Or maybe day 2? And what would make the Raiders decide to trade him at all? That's exactly what we're going to explore today. But before listening to the latest news, subscribe to the channel, like it, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Let's move on to the new news. Aidan O'Connell played in 20 games, started 17, threw 20 touchdowns, and had 11 interceptions. His record as a starter? 7 wins, 10 losses. Not bad, considering all the chaos around him last season. Still, the Raiders have a big decision to make. Some say O'Connell is worth a 5th-round pick. Others might disagree. What do you think? Now, let's dive into what a potential trade could look like, starting with why the Raiders might trade Aidan in round 1. Now, let's break down the first possible trade scenario for Aidan O'Connell, and this one could shake things up. Imagine this. The Raiders get a 4th-round pick, number 131 overall, from the New Orleans Saints in exchange for O'Connell. Why would New Orleans make that move? Well, if former Raiders quarterback Derek Carr ends up missing the season due to injury, something that's already being rumored, the Saints could be in a desperate spot. If the quarterbacks they were targeting in the draft are already gone by the time they pick, what do? That's where Aidan O'Connell comes in. Let's say big names like Shedeur and Jackson Dart are taken early. The Saints look at what's left and realize they're stuck. Rather than settle for someone they're not excited about, they could go after a quarterback with NFL experience. Aidan gives them that. Someone who's been tested and can immediately compete. From the Raiders' side, this move would open up flexibility. Trading O'Connell in the 1st round adds a valuable mid-round pick, helping the team build depth in key positions. Now, let's move to day 2 of the draft, rounds 2 and 3. Here's another potential move. The Raiders receive pick 84, a 3rd-rounder from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In return, the Bucs get Aidan O'Connell and pick 108, a 4th-round selection from Las Vegas. It's a bold swap, but it could work for both sides. For the Raiders, moving up 24 spots gives them a better chance to grab a player they really want. And with Geno Smith leading the room and the possibility of drafting a new rookie, there may just not be space for O'Connell on the depth chart. Now, let's be honest. This next trade might look a little strange at first. In the previous idea, the Raiders send Aidan O'Connell and a 4th-round pick to Tampa Bay, and in return they move up to pick number 84 in the 3rd round. Sounds like a lot just to move up 20-plus spots, right? But here's the logic. If the Raiders value O'Connell as a 5th-round quarterback, this trade actually shows Tampa Bay sees him as worth a 4th-rounder. That kind of jump in the draft doesn't come cheap. Why would this work? Tampa Bay could use a solid backup behind Baker Mayfield. And there are strong ties between the Buccaneers and the Raiders, especially with former Patriots like Tom Brady and other staff connections. There's trust between these organizations, but more importantly, this move benefits the Raiders. With plenty of talent expected to fall into the early 3rd round, Las Vegas might be eyeing a prospect who slips. Jumping up gives them a shot at a player who can make an immediate impact. If I were the Raiders front office and saw a valuable player slipping into round 3, I'd be picking up the phone fast, and Tampa Bay is exactly the kind of team I'd call. Now let's talk day 3 of the draft. Rounds where surprises always happen. Out of all the possible trade scenarios for Aidan O'Connell, this one feels the most likely. The Raiders send Aidan O'Connell to the Pittsburgh Steelers in exchange for a 5th-round pick, number 156 overall, straight up. Now, some fans might say that's not enough value, but compared to other recent quarterback moves, like Joe Milton being taken earlier, this is actually a solid return. And let's be real, O'Connell has shown more in the NFL than some of the raw athletes being picked based on potential alone. Pittsburgh still needs quarterback depth, and if they're looking for someone with real game experience and poise in the pocket, O'Connell makes perfect sense. Let's take a look at another team that might come calling for Aidan O'Connell, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now imagine this. All offseason, the Steelers have been spinning in circles with quarterback rumors. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. It's been a non-stop carousel. Yet, even after all that talk, they still don't have a clear starting quarterback. That's a problem. What happens if they reach the NFL draft and the guys they want are already gone by the time they pick at number 21? Maybe there's a big early run on quarterbacks. It happens every year. Or maybe the player they had their eye on just doesn't fall to them. In that case, Pittsburgh could turn to someone like Aidan O'Connell, a quarterback who's already proven he can handle NFL pressure. Sure, they've got Mason Rudolph, but let's be real. Bringing in O'Connell would light a fire under that competition. At the very least, it gives them a steady, experienced option to push Rudolph, and possibly beat him out for the job. And if you're the Raiders, this is the kind of opportunity you look for. You get to move a player who might not have a future in your long-term plans and gain draft capital that helps the team build for the future. There are still more trade options to explore for Aidan O'Connell, and the most interesting ones may still be ahead. Let's dive into another potential landing spot for Aidan O'Connell. And this one has a familiar face involved, Josh McDaniels. Now look, we all remember McDaniels had a hand in drafting Aidan when he was with the Raiders, so that connection can't be ignored. Could that be enough to spark some trade interest from the New England Patriots? Honestly, it's a bit of a stretch. Even when asked, people close to the Patriots aren't exactly excited about bringing in Aidan. They've already got Drake May, their new rookie, and they just signed Josh Dobbs on a 2-year deal. So, on the surface, it doesn't seem like there's room. But here's the interesting angle. What if the Raiders packaged a deal that included both Aidan O'Connell and tight end Michael Mayer? You're not likely to get a 4th-round pick for either of them individually. Let's be real. But together, that might change the math. Josh McDaniels drafted both of those players. He knows what they're capable of. If the Patriots had a chance to get both for the price of a single 4th-round pick, let's say the 106th overall, would he take it? It's not guaranteed. The Patriots might feel locked in with their current depth chart. But if there's one coach who might be willing to bring in players he already trusts, especially at a good value, it's McDaniels. This kind of move wouldn't just be about adding talent. It would be about reuniting with players who already know his system, which could be huge for a team trying to get younger and smarter on offense. Coming up next, we'll take a look at one final trade idea that's more about the long-term strategy. The Raiders might already be thinking about the future. Inside the Raiders' front office, there's a growing sense of strategy, a long game in motion. And part of that may involve moving on from Aidan O'Connell. Here's the twist. When asked around the league who might be interested in Aidan, only one team showed real interest, the Minnesota Vikings. But their offer? A lowball deal, a 6th-round pick in 2026. Now, on paper, that doesn't look like much. But let's not forget, the Raiders are already collecting picks for the future. Thanks to comp rules, they're expected to have a 4th, 5th, and 6th rounder in next year's draft. Adding another 6th rounder, even 2 years out, continues that trend of stockpiling assets. From Minnesota's perspective, it makes sense. They barely have any picks this year, only 4 total, and their current backup is Brett Rypien. Aidan is clearly an upgrade. Plus, with questions about J.J. McCarthy's health, having a more reliable backup is smart insurance. But let's zoom out. This trade isn't just about the Vikings. It's about the Raiders' plan for 2026 and beyond. There's talk behind the scenes about names like Arch Manning, Steve Sarkisian, and even whispers connecting Pete Carroll. It seems like Las Vegas may already be scouting the next generation of quarterbacks. If this team truly believes its Super Bowl window starts opening around 2026 or 2027, then every move now, every pick added, is laying the groundwork for that push. And while fans may debate which trade offer made the most sense, was it New England, Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, or New Orleans? The real story here might be the Raiders preparing for something bigger, something smarter, something long-term. Because when a team starts building this early, they're not thinking about just surviving. They're planning to dominate.